Welcome to the Visionary Chronicles, a business strategy podcast where we provide insight to those looking for creative, executable strategies built around the latest disruptive ideas, innovative cultures, product creators, and marketing solutions. Today on the Visionary Chronicles, we're going to talk about lifestyle, specifically lifestyle branding. Driving value beyond just product. Many brands have successfully done this, but you have to be a brand first. And a key component of being a great brand is being able to sell a great lifestyle to your community. And many have mastered this. But I was curious when I looked at, what is the definition of lifestyle? I think it's an interesting dictionary term they have here for lifestyle, and really what it is, which I thought was very much to the point of what we'll talk about today, is it defines it as the habits, attitudes, taste, moral standards, economic level that together constitute a mode of living for an individual or a group. And I thought, boy, that's a great anchoring statement for brands and positioning of brands when they're looking to sell a lifestyle. And when I mention lifestyle, not a lot of people that are brands understand, hey, I'm just selling a great product. Well, I can tell you from working with global brands as well as being part of global brands, a big part or a very, very large part of the positioning and strategy is around how do we sell a lifestyle, not just products. And predominantly, in most instances, they want to be able to sell a certain type of lifestyle to their consumer that's wrapped around great product. Now, I'm not saying product isn't a key component to their strategy, but just as important is the ability to authentically position yourself with a lifestyle that wraps it around great products that realizes that vision. So when we talk about these components of lifestyle, what is that? Habits. So we can relate that to both people and or consumers and brands. So when you look at do the same thing over and over again consistently, those habits will allow you to position your brand effectively and authentically. But you can't just be a one-hit wonder or fake it. You have to be authentic. And building that habit around first setting your vision. What do you want to accomplish, and what type of lifestyle are you trying to sell to your consumer? In this day and age that we're in right now with e-com and D2C, the ability for you to communicate with your community is so important. Not only communicate authentically, but also in a trustworthy manner as well. You can lose loyalty very quickly with your community if you're not authentic. So don't fake it. When you have a lifestyle you're trying to sell with your brand, effectively, most of these are built around premium brands. So habits, consistently doing the same thing over and over again that's established within your vision. The second thing is an attitude. There are different types of attitudes for brands that are selling a lifestyle. There are some that are very passive attitudes. There are some that are aggressive attitudes. But everybody within a brand, and what we looked at when I was at Oakley was that we were a person. Who is Oakley? Who is that person that we're trying to sell? Because unless you can bring that vision to reality, it's very difficult for you to understand who you're selling to, number one. Number two, that person you're selling to, what do they do on a day-to-day basis? And build product portfolio around that, allowing them to realize their vision as a person that is part of the brand and or is the brand itself. It really gives a personality behind the product. It really builds a lifestyle behind the product. So it really becomes an important aspect of positioning yourself within a lifestyle set by a vision and executing that in the marketplace. So you've got habits, be consistent, be authentic. You've got an attitude, passive, aggressive, whatever it happens to be. But really it's built around the positioning of your brand and the lifestyle that you're selling and who that consumer is. The third that the dictionary comes up with, which I thought was very interesting as well is you start looking at taste. You say, well, taste, is this a great dinner, a great lunch, whatever it is. But most people that are with brands and with LiquidMind, the brands that we've been with, this is an exercise that we go through with each one of our brands is if you want to sell a lifestyle, building a product around that, you first have to establish who you are first, what you're going to do, and where you're going to position yourself within that lifestyle and consumer that you've targeted. So taste is a really important aspect to that. You know, do you have bad taste? Do you have good taste? And I mean this from the standpoint of what you wear, the lifestyle, the taste that you have in regards to the car you drive, the clothes you wear, the meals that you eat. All of these are effectively individual tastes that need to be accounted for because there are a lot of different categories of products. So as you go down this chain of lifestyle, habits, attitude, and taste, each one of these are aspects that you really have to answer before you can go out there and authentically sell your lifestyle. And the fourth one that it mentions is moral standards. Obviously, within the environment that we're right now in the community and being authentic and the loyalty of the brand to that community is extremely important. As soon as you break trust, loyalty is the first thing to follow. People don't follow brands that don't have great moral standards. So you want to make sure that trust factor is always intact. Now that goes back to, interestingly enough, it ties all of these together. So if you've got great habits, you do it consistently over and over and again. You don't break those habits, go from good to bad. More often than not, what happens is you sell out the brand, you sell out the equity, and as a result, more often than not, whether it be a channel disruption, whether it be a product disruption, something that disconnects itself with the lifestyle you're trying to sell also follows on moral standards and loyalty. And through distrust in your community is the first thing that happens to fall. So moral standards obviously is an extremely important aspect of what you're trying to sell as a brand through your lifestyle. And then the fifth aspect of lifestyle is economic level. So whether you're looking at good, better, best, you're targeting a specific demographic, that's where it gets into who are you targeting from the standpoint of your lifestyle. Are you looking at premium or are you looking at entry level? So really when you look at the adoption curve, the early adopters many times don't care about price point, but the late adopters do. So there's an economic impact relative to the product that you're producing and the lifestyle that you're selling. So if you're selling a premium lifestyle, more often than not, you got to sell a premium product and be best in class. That's really important. So if you're not authentic, there can be two levels to that. One is your messaging. Two is your product. If you're not best in class in product, you can't sell a premium lifestyle. It's just a disconnect with your consumer. So all five of these aspects really blend together in your ability to sell and position your lifestyle with your brand. Now, I'll go back to earning your stripes as well, because you can't just wake up one day as a brand that's not premium and hasn't sold a lifestyle previously and has been around for generations and all of a sudden say you want to be premium. I've had many brands that have come to me and through LiquidMind that have said, hey, they've gone from a premium brand to a good brand through channels that they shouldn't have sold to in the first place, and their equity is gone. So as a result of that, the lifestyle goes away, the community goes away as a result of distrust, and they're trying to move back up the chain of being good to better and best. Well, I can count on my hands the number of brands that have effectively done that, and there's very few of the thousands and thousands of brands out there trying to revive that back up to being a premium brand is nearly impossible. So one of the big advantages you have when you're starting out is find your point of difference in the lifestyle you're trying to sell, identify who you are, what you do, and how you do it differently from a point of difference standpoint to your competition, and understand who your competition is. So when you go out and sell it to your consumer, and I say consumer in the environment we're in because it's a real big opportunity for small brands right now to find a point of difference over your competition, be able to position the lifestyle of your brand and the product that you're selling. There are many times where big brands right now have a very difficult time outside of where they've traditionally sold their product inside a brick and mortar, and they're learning as well. So in a lot of instances, I've seen with brands that we work with LiquidMind, so I'm saying you small companies, these guys are playing catch up as well. So it's a real advantage for you if you're a startup in defining who you are and the lifestyle that you're selling and the product. And I say value beyond product. These 5 components that I just went through, habits, attitude, taste, moral standards, economic level, all of these together constitute a lifestyle of a brand. And your ability to effectively communicate that will allow you to either gain market share or lose market share through trust, loyalty, as well as best-in-class product. And one of the greatest quotes that I had seen, and it was actually from a generational brand, but I thought it was a really great quote from Ralph Lauren that kind of put it in context of what they're doing as a brand, and they've been doing it for generations very successfully. It says, we're selling a lifestyle, not a product. And that's true. If you think it from that perspective, is people want to escape. People want to be inspired. People want to have a product they're wearing as a badge of honor and know that the brand that they have or they're wearing is aspirational, is honest, is loyalty, understands my needs. And so I think all of these rolled together allow you to understand what a lifestyle is and the value that you create beyond your product. And a couple brands, great examples would be Nike and Adidas. And their positioning is aspirational and athletic. But as a result of that to the consumer, it's inspirational messaging. Because somebody that may not currently be an athlete but wants to be an athlete, who do they connect with? They connect with brands that inspire them and that are aspirational. And so that's why you see these brands like Nike and Adidas are so successful in the athletic world is they not only build best-in-class product, but they have best-in-class positioning and lifestyle branding. And that value, the brand equity, is built off of how they position their brand. So when you're looking at positioning your brand, building brand equity, and understanding what you need to do in order to gain market share, differentiate yourself from the competition, habits, attitude, taste, moral standards, and economic level positioning, together all of these constitute a lifestyle. So when you look at other brands, such as an automotive brand like Subaru, let's say, which is a great brand. Well, what's beautiful about Subaru is that when you look at their commercials, and if you're familiar with them, a lot of what they have is not necessarily showing the product. What they've done is they've actually connected generations of product within a commercial, but also generations of families. That to me is a huge connecting point with Subaru and why they're successful, is they have outdoor and heritage at positioning, but also they have generational. They don't have generational families that have been driving the Subaru product, but they also have generational products. So they can connect with families, and they've done that very effectively through passionate, being the ability to escape reality with the Subaru. So these are also other positioning opportunities with brands, and Subaru's done it very effectively. Subliminally, they've connected the product with generations of families that have driven their products, and they've done it with passion and the ability for them to escape to different environments. So that's another way for a brand to find a way to build value beyond product, and another way to position your brand. So the points to positioning a brand to sell a lifestyle. Let's say, again, going back to the summary of habits, attitude, taste, moral standards, economic level, all of these are positioning, but consistency, authentication. And I just put together some points here, 5 points that are kind of the summary of what I see in the brands that I've been with, the global brands I've been with, as well as the brands that I work with LiquidMind, is we always put this up on the board. People will come to us and say, hey, how do we build a lifestyle for our brand? How do we position the brand in order to gain market share, to have revenue growth, to be able to grow globally? And this is really the first step brands need to take a look at. I call it the brand book, the brand anchoring, the foundation of what the brand is all about. And so before you sell a product, understand you need to sell a lifestyle. And if you truly are a brand, that is one aspect to you being successful or not successful. So really look at these points here of what you need to do, these 5 points of positioning your brand to sell a lifestyle. The first one is be authentic. There's nothing worse than a brand that fakes it. So be consistent, and it goes back to habits, being authentic, and ensuring that if you are positioning yourself a certain way, be consistent and authentic. And that brings me to my second point: is be consistent. If you're going to be authentic, you got to be consistent. That means the channels that you sell into, the products you make have to be best in class. If you're premium, you got to be best in class. People expect value beyond product, and that's consistency in the products that you sell and how you message those. So be authentic, 1, be consistent, 2. And number 3 is really important because it really drives the team inside of the company, the brand, and the community that you're selling to, is be passionate about what you do. That comes through in the products, and it comes through in your messaging and your marketing, and as you communicate as a brand. And that's how I go back to Nike and Adidas. They're very passionate in what they do and aspirational, inspirational messaging. And being passionate and being authentic are 2 connecting points with a great brand. But also the 4th point I say is, which is also very important, is to be compassionate. And what I mean by compassionate is understand there are people that want to get to where you're at, but need to take step-by-step approach. And being compassionate means understanding the different demographics of your customers. Some may not be at the elite level that you're currently positioning the brand. So how do you take steps to get them there? And how do you inspire and aspirationally build their character and their motivation to want to get to where you're positioning the brand? So being compassionate and also giving back, being servant leaders to your community is very, very important. That goes back again and tying back to being authentic. And the 5th point I say is be the best. If you're going to be a premium brand, don't settle for second best. Always be the best. Understand who your competitors are. Understand their position in the marketplace. Understand their features and benefits. What is your point of difference so you don't have to explain it? People already know you're best in class. As soon as you break that chain of being best in class, people understand it's no longer authentic, and as a result, loyalty goes away. So again, lifestyle branding is really driving value beyond product. So have habits, attitude, taste, moral standards, understand economic level of who you're selling to, and the 5 anchoring points of positioning your brands: be authentic, be consistent, be passionate, be compassionate, and always be the best. I want to thank you for listening to the Visionary Podcast today. I really appreciate your time. And I hope you enjoy the subjects that we're bringing up here with the Visionary Chronicles. It's more diversified, talked about business strategy, areas of support that you need in functional areas, but also on the personal side. There's a lot of things that you deal with as an entrepreneur, small business owner, manager, or executive. So we want to make sure we're addressing those as well. So if you like the content, I just wanted to kind of put something out there that hopefully you could join or subscribe to the Visionary Podcast, or at least give us a shout out on the rating. We'd really appreciate it. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora. And for those that do give us a rating, we're also going to be doing some giveaways. We'll have some t-shirts, some different stickers, some rings that we're giving out, some super cool rings on the Visionary side. And different subjects. If you've got some subjects you would like us to talk about, you can see when I introduce the podcast each week that these usually come from our listeners on a subject area of concern with them or area that they would like me to talk about. And also, we're going to be starting our interviews. And if there's anybody out there, we've got about 10 lined up right now. We have former executives from action sports industry, sporting good industry, ones that you'll find very intriguing. We're going to have also some graphic designers that will be joining the podcast as well. So if you've got an idea of some people we might want to interview, I'd certainly appreciate it.